Welcome, everyone. Please note this meeting is being made available to the public through an audio recording, which will be used to ensure an accurate record of proceedings produced in the minutes of this meeting. All comments made in open session will be recorded. PAC TV is providing the service live on Comcast, Xfinity, Government Access Channel 9. Those without cable, visit YouTube for live streaming. Board members Jim Noon and Stefan Roundtree are participating via remote participation in accordance with requirements of 940 CMR, Section 2910. Participants, via speakerphone due to personal illness, emergency, geographic distance, personal disability, military service, or other. All votes compound are designed to allow co-location by other wireless carriers as well. The monopole and Verizon Wireless ground equipment will be within 41 feet by 68-foot fenced enclosure on the property. The property is located at 720 Washington Street, Pembroke, in zoning district Business B and Residential District A, as shown on the assessor map F9 Lot 9A1. Okay, and so we'll open back up this public hearing. Please note, whoever's just at the microphone, please do the speaking into the microphone. If you walk away, please take the microphone with you. So if any of our friends and family at home or our adoring fans can make sure they hear all the comments.
Thank you. Yes. Good evening. I'm Michael Gimo, representing the applicant on this. Since the last time we were here, the revised plans have been submitted. We talked with you a little bit about those the last time. The purpose of the revised plans was to follow up on comments this board has made about pushing it further from the wetlands so it gets outside of the 25-foot buffer, which was done. And we have that up there, but you've also all got copies of that. So it was really just reconfiguring that area and some of the stormwater and so forth, so that it pulled it as much as possible out of the wetland buffer. So that was done. Other than that, I think we've covered the whole project in the prior hearings, but we're here if you have questions or further comments.
Okay. Well, first, I'd like to hear any comments from our peer review. If Deb Merrill could come up and let us know her findings.
Deb Keller with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. So we did receive the recent submittal, plan dates revised December 23rd, as well as a stormwater drainage summary report. And the only comments that we really had outstanding were to add recording information to the plan, which was done, and provide the stormwater report showing that they have compliance with the stormwater management standards, which was provided. And the only comment that I had was their illicit discharge statement was signed by the engineer, but not the owner and leasee. So I believe we added that as just a condition so that that gets to you for the record prior to start of construction.
Okay, great. All right. Any questions from the board at the moment? No? Okay. Is there any public comment that would like to be on the record? Anyone?
5-24, the Verizon Tower location.
Perfect. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so a roll call vote to accept as site plan as proposed.
You have the waivers also, since you're granting waivers, just as part of that motion.
Yes, we have them here, correct?
Yep.
The waivers are number 15. Do you have this?
Yes, number 15 on the conditions. Do I want me to read them all?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve public hearing SP 5-24, Verizon Tower location, draft conditions as noted, 1 through 14, and number 15 being with reference to the waivers requested from the planning board, rules and regulations governing the issuance of site plan approval, The board grants the following waivers as voted and approved by this board. Section 4.22, 6.7, and 6.8, traffic impact study. Section 4.21, photometric plan. Section 4.1 and 4.14, site plan scale requirements. Section 6.2.4, grading earth removal cuts over 4 feet. Section 4.20, sign requirements. Section 4.15 and 6.0, development impact statement. Section 4.7 and 5.1, landscape plan.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So roll call vote. Heather?
So we're voting on everything again?
Yep, just
Still no.
still no. Scott?
Yes.
Steph? Okay. Hey, Jim, did you have something that you wanted to bring to the attention of the board?
Yes, I had sent Sue some comments I had on some of these zoning articles, and just 3 of them I had comments on, the other ones I thought were good. But I figured it'd be easier to send them, and then maybe you could read them out. I'm not sure if it'll come over very well over the cell phone.
Okay. I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
Want me to show you?
Yeah, what were Jim's comments?
So there's a lot here. So his comments on the first article, which was to change the zoning, to amend the zoning bylaws, the lot sizes.
Okay.
His comment was to
I think
maybe
he's,
table it for the moment
yeah.
till the ADU amendment goes through by the state and see how that impacts. It's like
So I agree with Jim's comments there. We have a lot of,
And at least 16,000 square feet of, sorry, I'm trying to read this. Uplands, right? And then within 270 feet of the way line. Lots having a diameter of 100-foot circle needs to fit inside there. Front yard setback of 30 feet. No building or structure shall be erected or placed within 30 feet of the way line. And that's changed multiple times on that one. And then Jim, your comment was it's probably good to amendment, but it might be a good idea to hit pause until we see the impact of the ADU amendments.
Yes, exactly.
all right. So the ADU bylaw, any split level ranch in Pembroke could become 2 units, an accessory, an accessory and a primary with very little change, So I think that there's just the opportunity for there to be more housing with the ADU. So maybe, I agree with Jim to just pause for less than a year, till fall town meeting, and revisit it, but.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
Yes, we typically in the past have talked more about detached ADUs and/or, you're saying a split level? can
A split level
easily
ranch could be
become-
2, could be a dwelling, it could be a primary
So
and an
you can
accessory.
change an
You can
existing
change an
dwelling.
existing.
Any house, like you could carve out a section of it as long as it has a second exit, like from
Yeah.
that unit and make
With
it
not
part
a
of
lot
it.
of,
Garage or something,
But-
but
with not a lot of effort, yeah.
But it really doesn't change our density in some ways because it's still the same footprint of the house.
Well, I meant number of residents, density being number of units.
Right, because I know for, when we had discussed it, and Andy's, because we're at about 95% build out in the town, we only have the 400 acres left of buildable land, which in that buildable land, that isn't either in a trust or wildland or a protection act on it. And then those 400 acres, infrastructure would have to be put in on those as well. So there's very limited space for that. And this, I know we spent a lot of time figuring what a split level I get is really easy too.
Really easy. Yep.
Okay. What, our other one is for the ADU.
Do we want to vote on this
I
together?
was gonna say, we vote
Okay.
one at a time, how are we handling
Yeah.
this?
So,
Or are these
I think we
just
should vote on them one at a time.
discussion?
okay, so we need to also have public hearings for them.
March 3rd,
March 3rd, we have those tentatively scheduled for.
correct.
Okay, so, so the changes for the ADU law.
So
anybody
are we
wanna-
voting to put this on the warrant?
Let's, yes.
Okay.
So we
you
still
need
can
a
make
mo-
changes even if it's on the warrant, like if
Yeah.
there's, after the public hearing, if there's things that we want to make small modifications
Yeah.
to, we can.
So do we need to vote on this or no?
Or is this a package?
Well, it can't be a package because there's too
No,
many
so
things to vote
let's
on.
start one at a time, so let's.
I think we have to do them one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time. You want to start on ADUs first?
Oh, I thought we were, okay.
No, we're on to amend the zoning bylaws.
Jim,
No.
Stefan,
Oh, boy. I'm here. I'm thinking of saying no. I'm with Heather. I actually think we should wait until we do the ADU. But... So, I'm saying no.
No, did he say no?
Yes, we said
And Heather, you said no.
I said no.
Scott, what did you say?
yes.
Yes.
and I say yes.
Okay. 3-2, no. We only have 2 yes.
Correct.
Okay. Annie's not gonna be happy about that, after all the time we spent on it. Okay, up next would be the accessory dwelling units. So we'd be adding to the zoning bylaws would be the definition of the ADU presented from the state, and it would just be changing a couple of the lines throughout. I can't even think.
Sorry.
Throughout the zoning bylaws to make those minor changes to make sure we
We're-
adhere with the state.
State, correct. So I make a motion to accept the ADU bylaw change and send it to,
Second.
Okay, roll call. Heather?
yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so our public hearing will, on those, for public comment, will be
March 3rd.
March 3rd.
So, next is the public utility.
Yes.
What'd you say, Heather?
Okay, and then we have the article about public utilities. To add that as a amended item to the zoning bylaws, for the definition of what public utilities are and where the zone will be allowed. Do I have any motions?
Jim
we-
has comments.
Yeah, can we have
Nope.
discussion?
Yeah, we can have discussion. What were Jim's comments? I can't read
I
them.
don't see them in here.
They're on the back.
Yeah.
There's two. One is his comments.
Oh,
It says comments from Jim.
yeah.
So if you look to the very back.
yeah, okay, who's gonna read that?
I can't see it. Even when I-
So we can hear you pretty well. You want to read them or you want me to read them?
Yeah.
You can go ahead and read them. That would be great.
So Jim's comments for the amendment to zoning bylaws, to the addition of public utility use, are as stated. This is predominantly a housekeeping amendment to legalize that which is already built around town. To that end, he did cross out a few things in it, such as sewer, steam, fuel, and wireless telecommunication facilities should be removed unless there is a compelling reason to keep that line in there. Renewable, in quotes, should also be removed, as I can see no reason why we would want to allow coal-fired energy generation. Further, a public utility, according to the Public Utilities Commission, is a utility with either public or private ownership that is allowed to use public roadways in exchange for providing service to residents along said roadways. Using this understanding, as a private developer could service a development with a sewer line along a public roadway, as long as they provide service to abutters. This could result in areas around ponds ending up looking like Miami Beach, which is why sewer should be removed.
Okay. Any other comments?
So my other comment is just, well, I agree that both residents and businesses are both users of public utilities. I don't think that they should be allowed anywhere in Pembroke, and making them Residence A and then all subsequent districts basically allows them anywhere in Pembroke. And I think that we should be more restrictive as a board as to where they're allowed. In the last meeting, it was kind of brought up that just how we look at this as a board. And for me, I think this board has a fiduciary responsibility to both the residents of the town and the owners, whether that's residential or business. And if this were to go in like a business industrial, area, this or anything else like this, they have hours of operation and they're there working. So they're not bearing the burden of this 24/7. People in their residence are there during the day, in the evening, celebrating holidays, and just shouldn't bear the inconvenience and the noise and everything else that goes with it. So I think that we should be more restrictive as a board as to where it goes. I understand that's not what's before us and that we're kind of on a time crunch, so, we can move forward with this, but,
Well, we can always make modifications after public hearing as well.
yeah. So are we taking any
Can I
modifications?
address that?
Yeah.
Could I address Heather's comment?
Sure.
What I'm trying, the way I look at this is what we're trying to do is legalize telephone poles in Residence A. So, right now, in theory, a telephone pole is not allowed in Residence A, and I see us as trying to fix that, not allow some kind of industrial use in Residence A.
Well, I thought telephone poles were allowed because of the road and the easements that the town has on the roadways, much like the.
No, right now, we say that's not an allowed use.
We do.
In my understanding, because I had your
Yeah.
same concern
Yeah.
last week, was that by doing Residence A, it allows us to have the most control by special permit over everything in town.
Right.
So we talked about doing it in reverse. Let's figure out where we would like it, understanding that has no bearing on whether a utility would want it or,
Right,
where
yeah.
it's useful for anybody. And based on the discussion last meeting, Residence A means they have to go to a special permit, and if we restricted them too much, the utility, they would just go to the state or could go to the state. They have that option.
Right.
And the state will approve it without any of our requirements for screening or anything like that.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Well, it's up to the chairperson.
I'm okay with it, I guess. Sure, if you'd like to please come to the microphone and tell us who you are and where you live and.
Copy, Karen Tracy, I'm on Walker Road, directly affected by the National Grid. You just made a comment that the state will approve it without any question. Is that something that you've seen done? And if we put these restrictions in, would the state not look favorable upon those and say, well, they've already designated this area for utilities? Is that a possibility, rather than just giving the utilities free range, really, over the whole
So
town?
any public utility, like other than like a wireless tower, from my understanding, can go to the state. It's a longer process for them, but they can go and they will get it. Because the state looks at it, it's like doing low-income housing, a 40B. Like the state will let it go through whether we say we want it or not.
Almost like, I think we talked about eminent domain.
Yes.
I think
And
that's
that's
what.
been-
I also understand if they go to the state, they don't have to adhere to any of our.
No, I
Bylaws.
Right.
appreciate,
Right.
appreciate
There's
that.
no
Purposing
screening,
and
I
there's
do
no.
appreciate that.
Right.
And I understand the pros and cons of both, but before we go ahead and say you can be anywhere in the town, wouldn't it be great to at least have some designated areas where we know it would
This is
work?
exactly Heather's point at last meeting's
Yeah.
discussion. However, they don't care where we say that we'd like them in town. They go by where
Right.
they need it on their transmission lines.
Right.
And the
or-
transmission lines do run in an area that is not necessarily in someone's backyard.
Right. And
Has the board looked into that?
they have already purchased that property. So
Understood.
now we're, going to be fighting that battle because they already do own that property for them to go to the state and then,
Yeah, it seems a little unfair that they bought property that they
Mm-hmm.
knew wasn't zoned for. But Anyway, that's just.
well, because they know if they
They
go to
go
the
to the
state,
state,
that they'll
right.
get it regardless, is how they look at it. So
Okay, thank you.
I know it's not fair.
I just did think of an example. I was trying to think of something around Pembroke where they don't follow our regulations. I'm thinking the power company, and I know probably a couple of years ago, they had a pretty large program going around town to trim trees. Normally, you're not allowed to trim any trees within 100 feet of a wetland without going to the Conservation Commission. Power company didn't need to do that. They just operate under their state license and trim whatever they want to trim whenever they want to trim it and how they want to trim it.
Good point. Okay.
So can I make a motion to adopt this with Jim's changes?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, so,
So that removes fuel,
yeah, so we're removing
Sewer.
fuel, sewer, steam,
Renewable from the renewable.
and renewable, and wireless telecommunication facilities.
Correct.
okay.
Okay, so I guess a roll call vote.
So are we voting on the changes, or are we voting on the amendment? Or are we voting on the
So we're,
change? The bylaw change or Jim's changes?
we're voting on whether to put this on the warrant
Yep.
as, with the changes that we have there, and then we will have the public hearing on March 3rd if we approve to send this, put on the warrant.
Okay.
So it was proposed to accept this amendment to the zoning bylaws with the striking sewer, steam, fuel, and renewable energy and wireless telecommunication facilities. So that motion was from Heather. Who was the second?
Jim.
I second it.
Jim seconded. Okay, so roll call vote. Heather?
Okay, so I'm going to abstain because it's still not quite enough for me to support yet.
Okay. Jim?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So we will, that gives us the votes we need to have public hearing starting on March 3rd. Okay, was there one more?
Is it?
Or was that it? No,
The roadway.
the roadway.
The front page.
Okay. All right, so the other article for the warrant is the roadway exceptions article, to accept,
Around any other 40B.
Mm-hmm.
So, this should not be up for acceptance as a town way.
okay,
Now, Bristolwood Estates is fine, it's up to the subdivision standards, it's had an as-built done, and that's fine.
Have we
This
seen an
one should not
as-built
be.
on Copperwood? Have we seen an as-built for Copperwood?
I brought it last week.
mm-hmm.
I mean, last month.
And I think I asked Andy on that last week, or last meeting, and he said that it met our standards,
Right.
even though it was a 40B, because that was my question too, Jim, last time.
Yeah, if you look at the as-built, you should be able to see the width, it's only 40 feet at the entranceway, it's supposed to be 50. You may have an as-built, but it doesn't meet our requirements for subdivision control.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If we didn't put it on the warrant as an accepted roadway this time, can they petition for next time? Like, based on Jim's comments that it doesn't fit, like, if they came back and
I
said,
believe so. Jim, they could apply again, correct? If we didn't,
Sure. Anyone can apply anytime for anything.
well, if
that's what
they,
I, yeah.
you know. Okay.
Andy's also waiting for input from the DPW director and the water superintendent as well.
Okay.
So if we pursue this, I'll have their statements for the public hearing.
Okay.
But we have to decide today.
Whether we're putting it on the warrant or not, because the warrant closes Friday.
So I'm inclined to say let's wait till fall on this one too, if we need the statements and we don't have those. Because I'd be interested in what DPW has to say. Do they want to
Yeah.
maintain it?
They're the ones ultimately that'll have to maintain it, so
Right.
it'll be their problem if we
So
accept
we
it.
should probably hear them out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so do I have a motion?
I have a motion to postpone this to fall, to revisit in the fall.
For the fall
Road
town meeting?
acceptance for Copperwood.
All right, so Jim just second that. Okay, roll call vote. Scott?
Yes.
Yes. Stefan?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Yes, and myself, yes. I guess might as well go with the flow. So we'll table that for the fall meeting, so
We can get DPW.
we can get more information before making that kind of decision. Okay? That is all the article from Heather. So roll call vote. Heather?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Myself, yes. So we will have public hearings on that roadway acceptance article on March 3rd. Okay, we did Copperwood already.
We didn't do the zoning. Yeah. Expanding business fee.
So, like, the Jim comment copies kind of threw me off. Sorry. Okay, so another article is to amend zoning bylaws, Section 3, Establishment of District 4, Business B, Paragraph G, by deleting text shown as south in, what are we adding? So it's going to be 800 feet parallel to the current layout, traveling way of Washington Street beginning at a point 100 feet north of Pembroke and thence southerly to the intersection of Barker Street. Any discussion? Okay, do I have a motion?
Sure. Make a motion to expand business B on Washington Street. Add that to the warrant.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Scott?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So the Business B article will be added to our list for March 3rd for public hearing. That's all of them, correct? Okay. All right, up next, that was all of the articles, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now we just need, we have our minutes from the January 27th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the January 27th meeting, as shown, as stated.
Second.
I have two properties, 413 and 415, next to each other, and I just want to change the configuration because currently the 413 has a small lot and 415 has a much bigger lot, and I want to sort of reverse that and give the property at 415 access down to the water. So,
This is 415, right?
yeah.
And this is
So,
413?
yeah, this is the old line
Yeah.
here, and so this opened up, so it goes all the way down here, and this one goes, that's the long.
So this property currently has all of this?
Yeah.
And you want to give
And you
this?
own both properties?
Yeah, I'm selling the 415, that's why I'm doing this, to give the new people some waterfront.
Wait, this is 415,
Yeah.
right? You're selling this one?
Yes,
So you're giving 413 waterfront, correct?
they both have waterfront. This is before this one was cut off right here.
Oh, okay.
So
So it didn't
that's
have
not the
waterfront
existing line.
access. Right.
And that's the bigger lot.
Isn't this the existing
That's the
property?
old lot, the old line.
Right. So this is the one that didn't have, where's the water? Over there.
Right,
So
yeah,
this
down
one
here,
didn't
Gorham
have
Pond.
water.
And that was in the old map, but my parents built a new house and they didn't
Yeah.
have enough water.
But that's existing,
Yeah,
that's the
it
existing
is.
line too, so it doesn't change anything.
Right, so it's just this weird line
Yeah,
here.
there's a tree there, that's why, the tree's up here. They wanted some more property for the house.
Okay. Was this on the agenda for tonight? Was
No,
it?
it was under administrative items.
Okay. Are we allowed?
I asked Andy.
All right, you did? Okay, I just
did.
want to make
asked-
sure we weren't going to
yes,
vote
I
it and it
asked
wasn't.
Andy, and he said, as long as it's under administrative matters, that's fine.
Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the board? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept this Form A?
I make a motion to accept this Form A
As
as
presented?
presented.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Stefan?